Before we start, a pre-recorded message from Jeff.
First up, we have Edgar Markov, piloted by Jeff. It's that time of year again, when the moon's full and there's a certain spooky chill in the air. Edgar reawakens, leaving his tomb of Markov Manor in search of refreshments, or as mortals call it, blood. Today he's accompanied by a ravenous, motley crew of bloodsuckers as he looks to once again cull the population and bring others' lineages to an end, one sip at a time. Next up, we have Trevor playing GrimGrin. GrimGrin is a true Frankenstein's monster experiment gone awry.
You could say that again.
The great and powerful necromancer Geralf pieced together and created GrimGrin with various parts of corpses brought to him from throughout Innistrad. Today, GrimGrin looks to do similar, only this time amassing an army of undead to then sacrifice to himself and fuel his ongoing collection of deceased remains. Next, we have Nick playing Disa the Restless. No stranger to encounters with the undead herself, years ago, Disa's village suffered an attack from the necromancer Limdul. After witnessing many of her own die in this attack, she set out on an adventure in search for allies that would help fight together against the necromancer. It wasn't until reaching the forest of Fiendhorn that she found the aid she needed, lhurgoyfs. She learned to tame them and help protect her in battle. Today, she's back with her army of lhurgoyfs, seeking to avenge her fallen companions. Lastly, we have Chris playing Szarekh the Silent King. Perhaps one of the scariest species joining the table today are the robotic humanoids known as necrons. These ruthless and undying killing machines have one goal: not to just rule the forest of Fiendhorn or the streets of Innistrad, but to rule over the entire galaxy.
Alright, you're on the play. GrimGrin's on the play.
Trevor's turn, and he drops a Sunken Hollow and passes the turn.
Ooh, we're gonna draw a card.
Jeff's turn, and he's going to drop a turn 1 Bajuka Bog.
Graveyards.
My turn, and I'm going to play a tapped Myriad Landscape.
Ooh, alright, okay.
Wow.
Nick's turn, and he's going to drop a Terramorphic Expanse, and he's going to sacrifice it to grab a forest. Trevor's second turn, and he's going to drop an island as his land, and then tap 2 for an Arcane Signet. And he's going to tap the Arcane Signet to cast a Gravecrawler.
That is a good one. Very, very good card.
It's Jeff's second turn. He's going to drop Command Tower as his land.
And we'll tap 2 for a Talisman of Indulgence. Ooh. We'll pass the turn.
My turn.
Well, I'll drop a swamp as my land. I'll tap it. Ooh. I'm gonna play a Soul Ring off the top of the deck.
Spooky.
And it is Halloween. How about something even scarier? A tapped Worn Power Stone.
Whoa.
And I'll pass the turn.
Nick's turn. He's going to drop a Cinder Glade as his land for the turn, and pass.
Drop.
Trevor's turn.
Okay. I will tap 3 to... I don't need to tap.
Trevor casts Death Bearing, giving all his zombies and skeletons +1/+1 and Death Touch. He's then going to drop a tapped Dimir Aqueduct and bounce a basic to his hand. Trevor's going to enter combat, and he's going to choose to attack with Gravecrawler, swinging at Nick. And passes the turn. Jeff's turn. He drops a Plains, And then he's going to tap 2 mana for an Impact Tremors.
I'm going to tap the Bajukabog for a black and play a Vicious Conquistador.
The Conquistador will trigger Jeff's commander's Eminence ability, making him a 1/1 vampire token, and dealing 2 damage to each of us off of Impact Tremors. Jeff's going to tap Command Tower to cast a Knight of the Ebon Legion. Jeff will get another 1/1 vampire token from his commander's Eminence ability, and will each take 2 more damage from Impact Tremors. Ebon Legion's static ability triggers.
Reminder text. Damage causes loss of life. I will pass the turn.
My turn. And I drop a swamp as my land. I tap Worn Power Stone for 2 and sacrifice Myriad Landscape. I search my library for 2 swamps and put them onto the battlefield tapped.
Speaking of spooky foils, look at the curve of that deck.
I'll tap 3 mana, and I'll play an Unstable Obelisk.
And I pass the turn. Nick's turn. And he drops a Dragon Skull Summit as his land, and then taps 3 mana for a Garruk's Uprising. Trevor's turn, and he's going to drop a swamp as his land. He taps 5 mana to cast his commander, GrimGrin Corpseborn. He's a 5/5 who enters the battlefield tapped.
He also has a sack outlet and has another line of text underneath the sack outlet part.
Yeah. Sack another creature, untap him, and put a counter on him. When he attacks, destroy target creature defending player controls, then put a 1/1 counter on GrimGrin.
Trevor's going to enter combat.
I will swing.
He's going to send the Death Baron at me and Gravecrawler at Jeff.
No blocks here.
No blocks here.
I'll take 2 and Jeff will take 3. During his second main phase, Trevor's going to sacrifice Gravecrawler to GrimGrin.
To untap GrimGrin and to put a counter on him.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
Jeff's turn.
I will tap 2 and play an Orzhov Signet. And I will tap it for a white and a black. And cast a Tithe Drinker. 2/1 with lifelink and extort.
Jeff will create a 1/1 vampire token from his commander's Eminence ability, and will each take 2 damage.
Yeah, so we'll move to attacks.
Jeff is going to swing the Vicious Conquistador at me, and a 1/1 vampire token at Nick. We're each going to lose 1 life from Vicious Conquistador's triggered ability, and neither Nick or I are going to block. At the beginning of Jeff's end step, he'll put a +1/+1 counter on Knight of the Ebon Legion. My turn. And I drop a swamp as my land.
Tap 4 mana. I'll play my commander, Szarekh.
The Silent King, a 3/4 flyer. And whenever he attacks, I'm going to mill the top 3 cards of my library, and then return an artifact creature or vehicle from among those cards back to my hand.
Spooky.
Spooky.
Scary.
Scary. I'll tap 2, and I'll play the Chronomancer.
A 1/1 flyer with pay 1, tap it, sack another artifact, draw a card.
After that, I will pass.
Nick's turn, and he drops Path of Ancestry as his land, and casts a Dire Sight.
Ooh.
Fail 2.
And then Nick is going to draw 2 and lose 2. And he passes the...
Untap. Upkeep. Draw.
Trevor's turn.
I will play a Mortuary Mire into play tapped. When it enters the battlefield, I may put target creature card from my graveyard on top of my library.
Trevor will choose to put Gravecrawler on top of his library. And then he casts an Endless Ranks of the Dead.
Enchantment. At the beginning of my upkeep, create X 2 black zombie creature tokens where X is half of the number of zombies I control rounded down.
Endless ranks of the dead.
Trevor enters combat.
I'm going to swing GrimGrin at you.
Yes, sir.
On attacks, I will destroy the 3/4.
Let's see where this is going.
And I will put a counter on GrimGrin. Right, so that's 8/8 coming at you.
You are killing one of my creatures, and I'm declaring this vampire as a blocker, killing 2 of my creatures.
Okay.
Wow, Trevor really tried to put Jeff down for the count there.
Hey, good turn, good turn.
Jeff's turn.
We'll draw a card. Alright then. We have 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to cast this spell with Extort. A Twilight Prophet.
A 2/4 flyer with Ascend. And at the beginning of Jeff's upkeep, if he has the city's blessing, he's going to reveal the top card of his library, and we're each going to lose X. He's going to gain X, where X is that card's mana value. Jeff is going to enter combat.
You're going to send Vicious Conquistador in at Nick.
When Vicious Conquistador attacks, we're each going to take 1 damage. And no blocks from Nick.
Untap. Upkeep. Draw.
My turn. And I tap 4 mana for Imhotep the Stormlord. A 3/3, and whenever 1 or more artifact cards leave my graveyard, I'm going to create 2 2/2 Necron artifact warrior creature tokens. And at the beginning of combat, I can give another one of my artifact creatures +2/+2 and menace.
So I'm going to enter combat.
Yes, sir.
When I enter combat, I'm going to give my commander +2/+2 and menace until end of turn. So he's going to be 5/6 flying menace. And I'm going to swing him at you. So
But I knows Ghost.
5/6
At me.
in the air with menace.
We have an on-attacks trigger over there.
When he attacks, I'm going to mill the top 3 cards of my library. I'm going to return a Knight Paladin from among the cards milled this way back to my hand. And Jeff is going to take 5 commander damage. When the Knight Paladin leaves my graveyard, it will trigger Imhotep, creating 2 2/2 Necron warrior creature tokens. I tap 5 mana to cast the Knight Paladin, and when it enters, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Nick's turn. And he drops a land, and then taps 5 mana to cast his commander, Disa the Restless. On cast, Nick will draw a card from Garruk's Uprising. Disa is a 5/6, and whenever a lhurgoyf permanent is put into your graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, put it onto the battlefield. And whenever 1 or more creatures Nick controls deals combat damage to a player, he's going to create a Tarmogoyf token. Trevor's turn, and he's going to untap everything except GrimGrin, and then he's going to create 1 zombie token from Endless Ranks of the Dead. He'll drop an island as his land for the turn, and then he'll tap 1 swamp to cast Gravecrawler. Trevor's going to tap 2 mana and cast an Undead Augur.
Whenever Undead Augur or another zombie I control dies, I draw a card and lose 1 life.
Trevor's going to sacrifice one of his zombie tokens to GrimGrin to untap him and put a +1/+1 counter on him.
When that dies, I lose 1 life and draw a card.
Jeff's turn. And he's going to reveal the top card of his library because of Twilight Prophet.
We are going to reveal the top card of my library. It's a talisman. I'm going to have you each lose 2, and I'm going to gain 2. And I'm going to draw a card. Wow, wow, wee wow. The heck turn are we on? I got 3 lands. Well, we gotta do what we gotta do, right? We're gonna play the Talisman of Conviction.
He's ramping. Spooky.
Choosing not to extort, because I need this 4 mana to cast Edgar Charmed Groom. Gonna have 2 creatures enter. I'll have you each take 2. And this gives other vampires I control +1/+1. He's a 4/4. When he dies, return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. There's no good Vicious Conquistador swings anymore. Unfortunate. We'll move to attack phase. I'm going to send a 3/5 in the air at you. That's going to be it for me.
My turn. And I'm going to pay 1 mana to tap the Chronomancer to sacrifice the Knight Paladin. And then I'm going to tap 5 mana to cast Beacon of Unrest, returning Knight Paladin from my graveyard to the battlefield.
And when it enters, it'll deal 4 damage to each opponent.
The plays. I have no response for this.
I'll shuffle the Beacon of Unrest into my library.
the trigger. That's great.
Wow.
The crunching and the shuffling you have going on over there.
Spooky.
Spooky. Yeah, I'm killing these cards right now.
Yeah.
Why?
You need a cut.
I'm going to tap 4 mana to cast the Canoptic Scarab Swarm.
Exile Nick's graveyard, and I'll make a 1/1 insect with flying for each artifact or land you add. So you had 3?
Yep.
So I'll make 3 insects. Enter combat. Flying?
No, sir.
I'm gonna send, well, I'll boost this guy, +2/+2 menace. It's gonna be another 5 flying menace. And when he attacks, I'll flip the 3. Ooh, Solemn, Thunderhawk Gunship, and Canoptic Tomb Sentinel.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to take Solemn. When I take Solemn, I will make 2 more Necrons.
Sheesh. The
What?
value train is running.
They didn't put once return on that?
No.
That was
What an
before the
oversight.
once and turns. They were trying to make the most powerful precons ever constructed.
Wow.
After that,
Nick's turn.
this is getting out of hand.
Says the man with everything to lose.
It's a spooky deck.
You guys
got
gonna deal with that?
I don't know what possibly I could do.
Yeah, I kept hearing
I have
Necrons
2
aren't
cards in my
scary.
hand.
I won with Necrons. I said it was scary.
Oh, they're scary.
Nick taps 2 mana to play Gruul Signet.
Stop looking at his hand.
Was I?
Spooky
You
peeks
got
at Nick's
this.
hand.
What the fuck? Trick or treat.
Freak Ataxian probes.
That's spooky. Slipper boots.
Someone saw that coming.
Trevor's turn.
At the beginning of my upkeep, I will create 2 zombies. Tokens.
What is this? Endless ranks of the dead?
Endless ranks of the dead. Draw for turn.
He drops a swamp as his land. He'll tap 2 mana.
to cast the Tainted Adversary. And when he enters the battlefield, I will pay 3 mana twice. 2 instances of 3 mana. When I pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many 1/1 counters on Tainted Adversary, then create twice that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed. So he's going to get 2 +1/+1 counters, and I will get 4 zombies with Decayed.
Zombies? You gotta be kidding me.
No joking here.
Trevor enters combat.
We'll move to combat.
On attacks, Trevor's going to destroy my commander with GrimGrin's ability, putting a +1/+1 counter on him and making him a 10/10. I'm going to choose to block GrimGrin with Imhotep the Stormlord.
What is he doing?
He's going to Living Death. In response, I will, I'll sack that Decayed Zombie to untap him to put an additional counter.
Trevor's going to draw 1 card and lose 1 life from Undead Augur. And he passes the turn.
Blasphemous Act on top. It's our only hope.
Not for me, that one. He's going to Living Death.
Untap. Upkeep. Jeff's 4th win of the game. Coming out hot. You guys don't lose anything. I don't gain anything.
Jeff's turn. And he drops a mountain as his land.
Pushing it to the limit. I'm going to take 1 for red off of that.
Jeff casts a War Leader's Call, giving creatures he controls +1/+1, and whenever one enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each of his opponents. Jeff taps 4 mana.
And I'm going to cast a Bloodline Keeper. So I'm going to have you each take 4 damage off of 2 creatures entering. This guy here is a 3/3 with flying. I can tap, put out a 2/2 black vampire with flying, or I can pay a black, transform him. We're moving to attack phase.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we got the whole team coming at Chris.
Oh.
Jeff is going to attack with a 5/5, a 4/6 flyer, 4 3/3s, a 3/4, a 5/5, a 4/4, and another 4/4. I'll block all 28 damage with 6 necrons and 1 insect.
I don't lose anything, but I do gain 4 life. I'm going to pass the turn.
Upkeep. Draw. I'll drop a swamp as my land for the turn.
I'm going to tap 5 mana to cast a Necron Deathmark, and when it enters the battlefield, I'm going to mill 3 cards. And I'm going to choose for the Deathmark to target itself.
I will tap this guy and pay 1 mana. I'm going to sacrifice the Scarab Swarm to draw a card.
It's building up to something.
Can't imagine what it could be.
He's looking awful spooky over there.
Super scary and skeleton.
5 mana?
I'll cast a Living Death.
Whoa!
Who saw this coming? Whoa! Each player exiles all creature cards from their graveyard, then sacks all creatures they control,
In
then
response.
puts all cards
you were-
exiled.
I get priority
You
first.
have priority.
I cast a Kolaghan's command. I can choose 2. I'm going to choose target player, discards a card, choose myself.
That's pretty good.
And I'll destroy target artifact. You got some artifacts over here, right?
I do have mana rocks and vehicles.
You want that in your graveyard?
It's fine if it's not.
You're not going to destroy what I put in my graveyard with your Necron Deathmark?
No.
Politicking at
No.
5 life with a living death on the stack. Prior to your
I'm going to discard
priorities.
Sir Conrad.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's a bad deal for you.
It's real bad.
Alright.
Alright,
What are you destroying?
No, he discarded.
You'll hit
Oh,
this
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And then
I'm going to sack the Undead Augur first. So I will lose 1 life and draw a card. Yep. And then I will...
Surprised you didn't attack first.
I'm just going to attack after.
sack the rest of my zombies.
Oh, no. No, don't kill me.
Does GrimGrin say another creature?
Yeah, he can't sack himself.
Okay.
Yep.
Aren't you now going? Oh, you sacked the
First.
life one first.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, this guy's a genius.
Okay.
I have no responses.
Yep. So Living Death is going to pop off.
Yes, sir.
My
right.
Knight Paladin survives because it was not crewed.
GrimGrin goes back to the command zone.
I got a circle in red.
All the creatures.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
from
have
the
a draw
graveyard.
card trigger.
I have an Edgar Charmed Groom dying. He comes back to the battlefield transformed as Edgar Markov's coffin.
You got any ETBs?
No.
Oh, you just got that, so I'll draw.
I
And
got a
then go,
couple
you
over
got yours.
here. Yeah.
I have 1 ETB. It's going to be 2 damage to each of you.
So we'll take 2. That's fine.
Yeah, so, cool.
So first one, when this enters the battlefield, each player sacks a creature.
Super.
So I'll hit that guy with this one.
But we're each gonna take because of that as well. And I'm gonna take one
It's
from my...
another, so that'll be 1 creature, 2 creature. Do you have to say
I did, yeah.
a creature?
Yeah.
Alright, so that's 3 to each. Yeah.
Off my Necron Deathmark trigger, I'm going to destroy Trevor's Death Baron and then mill myself for 3 cards.
Why'd you lose life?
Because of that.
You can.
When Canoptic Tomb Sentinel enters the battlefield from a graveyard, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent.
I'm going to choose Jeff's Impact Tremors.
Exile?
Yeah.
Ooh.
When the Scarab Swarm enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard who's got lands and artifacts.
None.
No.
0.
2 creatures.
I'll hit Jeff's graveyard.
Spooky.
Tap to crew. I'll crew the Knight Paladin, and I'll enter combat. When I enter combat, I'll give target artifact creature, the Knight Paladin, +2/+2 and menace. So I'll send 8 menace at Jeff.
Have to take that.
And then I will pass the turn.
One more turn here.
Living Death. No, I have no graveyard. Don't Living Death.
Ripper off the top.
Please don't. Please don't kill anything.
Got rid of impact tremors for you.
You did. But you kept the War Leader's Call. Strictly better impact tremors.
Nick drops a forest as his land.
Five mana.
You cast a final parting. I'll search my library for 2 cards, put 1 in the graveyard, 1 in my hand.
It's not looking good.
It's
Not
not
at
looking
all, no.
great.
Do you have a lhurgoyf that destroys enchantments? For 2 mana?
That'd be nice if they printed one.
Oh, the
Just put
calamity.
The fear of missing out. I'll put that one in my hand, and I'll pass.
Untap, upkeep, draw.
Upkeep.
Upkeep. I get a zombie. 1, 2, zombie.
Trevor's turn.
I'll play a Tainted Isle. I will tap 3 mana to play a Lord of the Accursed. Other zombies I control get +1/+1. 2, 3. All zombies gain menace until end of turn. Only if I tap it.
He taps 4 mana to cast Clone.
It's a copy of the Lord of the Accursed. So everything's getting +2/+2 right now. I'll move to combat.
In a surprise twist attack, Trevor will swing 4 at Nick and 4 at Jeff.
What?
That was a bad play, but I'll allow it.
What is going? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
You just try and kill me. I'll kill the one coming at me.
If you kill it, then
Dead.
you die.
Yep.
So I gate back by 4.
I lose because when the undead augured
Yeah,
dies,
I don't know. I don't
I
know
lost a
what that
life
was.
and drew a card. And then my turn's over because I'm no longer present.
At my upkeep, I'm going to create a 1/1 white and black vampire with lifelink and put a bloodline counter on Edgar's coffin. And I'll have each take 1 off War Leader's Call. I'm going to draw a card.
He drops a swamp as his land.
We got 3,
Spooky
4,
game.
5, 6. We're going to cast Edgar Markov.
Wow, you actually played his commander.
Have each take another 1. Do or die mode. Moving to attack phase.
Oh, because it's got haste.
We got... Oh, this one can't attack. But Edgar can... It's going to be a 5/5 with first strike coming in at you.
I'll block with the Canoptic Tomb Sentinel.
Jeff passes the turn.
Untap. Draw.
My turn.
I'll drop Path of Ancestry.
I'm going to tap 7 mana and unearth a Canoptic Tomb Sentinel from my graveyard.
I'll get 2 Necrons.
And when it enters, I'm going to exile Jeff's untapped creature. I'm going to enter combat.
What? Enter combat. I'm going to crew the Knight Paladin. I'm going to swing. I'll give my commander +2/+2 and menace until end of turn. So it's going to be 5 +6 +3.
It's 14.
+5, and then 1 in the air at Nick.
On attack, I'm going to mill the top 3 cards of my library, and then return Royal Warden to my hand, making 2 more Necron tokens.
Priority goes to Nick.
Nothing.
Priority goes to Jeff. Took the W.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I won the Jack-o'-lantern Cup.
You sure did.
Necrons.
The spookiest one I've ever seen. Wow.
Planes left. And another land. Ooh. What do you say, Necrons?
I say...
You don't say nothing. You're the Silent King.